Hi everyone, welcome to Module 5. We are here and this time we are focusing on historical fiction, nonfiction, and informational text. This is a very hot genre for a lot of children because children are very curious about what has happened in our past and finding out about true factual events. So if you are a teacher or somebody who is hoping to be a teacher in the future, you will definitely want to look into this genre and have a lot of different opportunities in your library. Okay, so let's take a look. What are we doing this week? Of course, we know we're going to click on our overview tab for this week, which is historical fiction. And you are focusing on, as you know, historical fiction in our module reading this week. And that is going to come in handy, of course, because it's going to help you break down your reading organizer. That is due on Tuesday. We don't need to go over that because it is pretty much the same thing every week, but continue to break down those reading organizers, making sure you are going into depth in each prompt and just making sure that you fully understand that text so that it will then help you with the additional assignments. Our reading commentary, already reading commentary number 8, is our focus on historical fiction. So you can choose from these 2 links, or there's another book you have in mind that you found at the library or on another library website. That's absolutely fine. These are just suggestions of various historical fiction books. You can also choose from this one, the Scott Odell winners. These are just really great books because they're award winners or at least nominated winners, so you know that they are high quality historical fiction reads. Again, if you have one in mind, that's fine. I will not deduct if it's not off of those 2 links. So to complete your reading commentary this week, you are going to need to read 2 of the books, so 2 separate submissions. Of course, you're going to put the title and the author and the age or grade the book is best suited for. Now, an important thing to remember is it's very essential that you read through the book to understand what grade or age level the book is suited for. Sometimes it might appear like the book is perfectly reasonable for younger age children, and then you find out later it is not. So do make sure that you fully understand the text because some are definitely for older children because they're about difficult events and those younger children may not be ready for that. Once you have completed that, you're going to focus on what category the historical fiction book fits into: adventure, fantasy, humor, or mystery. And of course, this is all broken down in your historical fiction reading in Module 5. So please make sure that you are citing that text. Don't just assume it's a fantasy, humor, mystery, or so on. It should have some type of in-text citation noting that you did make that reading. Then the time period. Our text on historical fiction talks about 9 different periods. So decide what period your book is situated in and just put it in about 1 sentence. Next, literary technique. This is discussed in our text. And I need you to describe one literary technique the author uses and give an example from the book. There are various types of literary techniques in our reading. So again, please make sure that you are citing the text to understand fully the literary technique that was used. And finally, authentic association. Historical fiction is always associated with a real person, an authentic person, or an authentic time period, or an authentic event. It may not have actually happened, the story itself, but if it took place in a real time period, such as World War II, it's a historical event with a fictional story. So describe which book is associated with the authentic association and what a reader will learn about the person, event, or period from the reading of the book. This is a really great opportunity for children to learn about history in a fun, interesting, exciting way because they're often citing very specific things that have happened in that time period or with that particular person or in that event. So they're learning all those factual things, but it's just coming across in a fun, fictional story. So that is it for your post. And then of course, do not forget to include an image of each of your books. And please, please, please remember to come back and follow up and respond to at least 2 peers, no later than Sunday night. Okay, finally, the next thing that we need to do is take a look at our literature study, which is our 3rd in all 4 that we will be completing this semester, coming down already on the 3rd one. And we're focusing on The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And this is a historical fictional story. And if you've had the opportunity to read it, you will likely have been moved by the experience. Okay, you do need to have a copy of the actual book in hand. If you choose to get it from the library or download an e-reader on Kindle or something like that, that's fine. So the first thing that you need to do is choose 4 consecutive chapters in the story. So we are only focusing, kind of similar to Winn-Dixie, we're only focusing on 4 chapters in this particular section of our literature study. If you own the book and you want to highlight it with actual highlighters, you're welcome to do so. If you're renting the book or if it's on an e-reader, well, let me back up. If you are renting the book from the library, then you can use sticky notes. I suggest getting the really small 1/2-inch little sticky note tabs and just using that, getting yellow sticky note tabs or pink, or just cutting them into small little tab sizes because that will serve as your highlighting. If you have an e-reader such as a Kindle, I believe that those allow for you to highlight. If it's not allowing you to highlight in pink and it's only yellow, that's fine, I'll accept that. Okay, so let's understand what we're doing here. First, you need to click on the template. So let's open up the template first. And using this template, making a copy of it, you are going to use a highlighter or post-it notes or highlight on your e-reader the key points in yellow and then the vocabulary words in pink. Remember that we're focusing only on 4 chapters. So in this section here, you are including an image of your highlighted words and points in the story. So this would be, let's just say we're doing chapter 1 through 4. We do chapter 1 image of your highlighted points and vocabulary words, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. So again, you have to have a copy of the actual book in order to have this part completed correctly. Then you're going to come down here and list your 20 words. So within your story, I want you to choose 20 vocabulary words that you identified across the 4 chapters. They should be in the 4. And remember, say if you are thinking that this book might be used for 6th graders, then you'd want to choose words that would be helpful in those students understanding the story. It might be a word that we may have heard before, but used in a way where we wonder exactly what does that mean. They should be words that just help the understanding of the story. I'll list all 20 here. The next section is you are going to choose 5 words specifically. So you're going to have all 20 listed up here, and of the 20, choose 5 that you could demonstrate with an image that would depict the word. This image is going to help readers learn the meaning of the word. When we have imagery along with description, it helps to really solidify understanding. So you would put the vocabulary word here and an image. You can draw an image that depicts the word, or you can choose an online image that depicts the meaning of the word. You only need to do 5 specific vocabulary words and 5 images. Now we're getting down to the writing aspect. Describe the role of vocabulary in reading books. Again, vocabulary is a big part of curriculum all through the various grades. And so we use vocabulary to help, build our vocabulary bank, but then also help us in understanding what is happening in the stories. So describe why vocabulary is important and what teachers should consider when working on vocabulary with students. Give examples, at least 2 from the book, that support your ideas. So first you're going to describe why vocabulary is important and what teachers should consider when they're working with students. Are they using vocabulary to strengthen their vocabulary bank? Are they using it to help them deepen their understanding of the actual story? What is the purpose when reading with students? Then, from the story, give at least 2 examples where vocabulary is used to help support students' understanding. So there should be in-text citation from the book here, 2 examples. Using this text with students, next section. Describe the grade level you think this book could be read with, and what content area or unit you would place it in and why. This is one of those books where it's a pretty light read. It's not real hard to understand, but the nature of the story, especially as you get towards the end of the story, is pretty hard. So it's important that you really take into consideration the age and when it would be appropriate to read this story. So describe the grade level you think this book could be read. And then if you were teaching in the classroom, what content area or a unit would you place it in and why? Would you focus strictly on history? Would you focus on another content area? Just explain in detail what you would do with the area or a unit that you would place it in, and give me a reason why. Finally, find one other text that would complement The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So you need to be thinking about another book that would kind of coincide. So maybe if you're doing a unit on history of World War II, we'll say, and you're going to read more than one book, going along with The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, what other historical fiction book would be a good fit for that specific content or unit that you just described above? Tell me how this other book supports that same event or history as The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Why do you think it is a good book to read along with, or before or after, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas? I'm looking for historical fiction books here. I don't want to see textbooks because that's not really our focus this week. We're focusing on historical texts, historical fiction books. There's quite a lot out there, so just kind of be thinking about other books that would coincide with this book and why. These answers here should be a nice hefty paragraph. A good thick paragraph is typically between 6 and 8 sentences. If you want to go beyond that, that's fine. But do remember to give examples from the book and text citations and go into detail here. If it's about 2 or 3 sentences, I think this book would be great for such and such grade, and I would use it on this in this content area because it would be a good fit. That isn't enough. I want depth here. Okay, so that wraps up the literature, the Lit Study number 3. Again, you're only focusing on 4 chapters, but you must read this entire book in order to fully understand the story. So please, by all means, read this story. Okay, that wraps us up for this week. The only other thing you want to do is look ahead to reading commentary number 4 if you're headed to the library. We're going to be focusing on informational text next week. So please email me if you have any questions about any of these assignments or anything else. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in our next module. Bye!